Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, there we go. Well, thank you so much for coming. This is a Mirelli Marketing Masterclass. And tonight we're going to talk about bartering. A special guest with me tonight is Jennifer Minchoff with Bartering Card. And Jennifer, why don't you give yourself just a little bit of an intro, just what do you do, and tell us just a little bit about Bartering Card.
Okay. I have been a trade broker and business development consultant with Bartering Card for the last 3 years. Prior to that, I worked with a smaller trade exchange that Bartering Card actually absorbed. And I've been doing trade and barter for probably the last 20 years. My grandparents owned businesses through all of my life. So we've always learned how to trade and barter with just starting new businesses and closing them down, just making it work. But for us with Bartering Card, we actually teach small business owners how to use their spare capacity or their overstock and then turn around and earn trade dollars for those. And then we turn around and also help you teach you how to then spend those trade dollars on what you're currently spending on in cash. Then that way you're able to keep that cash in the bottom line of all your revenues.
All right, sounds good. Well, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is I run into small business owners every day who make mistakes when they're bartering. They end up working for free. And one of the reasons why they work for free, and that happens a lot with, well, they're getting asked, like, photographers are always being asked, well, will you work this event, for exposure? Or event planners, will you plan this event, for exposure? Or graphic designers, a lot of those services, they get asked to work for free. And my thought is that don't work for free, barter, right? There are very few reasons that you should ever work for free. I was talking to a photographer who had been asked to work to take photos at an event for free. And I said, why are you doing it? He says, well, they don't have a budget and, I need the exposure. I said, all right, that's fine, but you've got to get something in return. You've got to get their email list. You've got to be able to have them send out an email on your behalf to all of their contacts, promoting your services. You've got to have some way that you can recoup. You can't just work for free. Same thing with event planners. It's like you can't design the event for free and then hope you're going to get referrals. There has to be some sort of value and some way that you're going to get value back. The other thing that people do when they start to barter is they don't put a value on their services. They're like going, oh, well, I'll do your hair if you do the marketing. Well, the hair is $200, but the marketing they expect is $2,000. And there's got to be some equity. So what I say is if you're going to enter into any sort of agreement, especially I do this and you do that, have a really quick agreement, just in writing that says, I'm going to do this at this value, you're going to do this at this value. Just so you can kind of see where you stand and kind of lay out the parameters. Because unfortunately, there are people out there that will take advantage of you if you are working for free. They will ask you to do more and more and more, and small business owners feel like that they're stuck. They're in a bind then because they agreed to do it for free, but now it doesn't feel right. And if it doesn't feel right, then you need to have the guts to say this doesn't feel right anymore, and then B, have some sort of solution that you can go back and say, you know what, I'll continue to do this, but you've got to do this for me. And that's really where the barter and trade comes in. So Jennifer, what do you think of that?
For me, I agree totally. That's actually why Bartering Card and other trade exchanges were started originally, is because that whole unfair, that $2,000 versus $200 scenario you played, you gave a great example from the hairdresser, where we actually are a huge benefit to small business owners, is we actually function as that bank account. So bartering is that fair. So then that way you can get the $2,000 that you've earned, and then you can spend it how you need to. So if you need to spend $200 on hair, you can, and so forth. But like one of the things that was interesting, I had one guy who had a piano, and I wanted to be able to, I had one member who wanted a piano. He said, okay, if you can get me chicken feed. And I said, where am I going to get chicken feed? There's no way I'm getting chicken feed to trade for a piano. But I ended up luckily finding it. It took me 4 days, but I found chicken feed in order to go and get the piano. He had a chicken farm. Whoever thought a piano, salesman would have a chicken farm, but he did. So that's what, I traded for him so I could get the piano and trade it to somebody else. So it's always trying to find what that other person needs, but you should never do anything for free. It definitely is. You have a service, you have a value. Once you start giving your services away, it then devalues your own service.
Right. And I think you just hit on something really key, is that you've got to be creative, and you've got to kind of open the doors. And sometimes you can't do a straight barter one-to-one. Sometimes you have to bring in a third party or even a fourth party and kind of, as the circle, trade services so that everyone is getting something. Because sometimes that person that needs your services, there's nothing that they really have that you want. But maybe there's this third party that has something that they could trade for. And that's really where a service like Barter Card could really help. But it's just so interesting that they're, especially in those services, that it's like, quit working for free. Just stop.
Yeah.
It's much easier on products, because your products is like, I'm going to give you, this widget, and you're going to give me this face cream. Okay, there you go. You can kind of see it. But it's harder on services, because one person's services, when you pay for services, you are paying for the end result, but you're also paying for that person's experience and their network and everything they bring to the table, their education, all that. So in services, it can be very unequal. And so you really want to make sure that you are, figuring out what your value is and what you are willing to barter with. I know, Jennifer, you and I were having the conversation about Mirelli and what would I be willing to barter, like which of my memberships and what parts of my membership. Yeah. And I've really been thinking about that for the past couple of days, going, what am I willing to give someone else, in exchange for something? What is the real value that I think I bring to the marketplace versus what other, companies bring? And it has been a really interesting thought process to go through that, how do I barter this? Hello, Jennifer Hill. How are you?
Hi.
Hi. So have you ever bartered?
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Jennifer, have you ever bartered?
Yes, I barter all the time.
Okay. What have been your experiences? What works and what doesn't work?
Well, mine's all product. I barter for product. So that's, that's the easiest way for me to do it. I've traded Avon for Scentsy, Avon for
right.
Just different things.
Yeah, and I would say that product is definitely much easier to barter with than services. Like definitely. Jasmine, when I think about how you would barter, I don't know.
It's actually difficult for me. Yes, that I was actually talking. I didn't realize I was on mute earlier. But the struggle becomes because you know what you're doing. Like with your services, this is your baby. This is what you do, and you're proud of what you do, and you stand behind your product, like what you do. So when someone comes to you and wants to lowball you for the services that you provide, it's almost like, okay, where do I draw the line where I want to sacrifice and show you to say, hey, this is what I'm good at doing, and you should value it because I value it. Like, how do you make that transition to say, hey, I guess lessen yourself to actually reap the benefits? Does that make sense?
Well, see,
so I've got enough.
I don't think you should lessen yourself. What I think you need to do is you need to figure out what your value is. Let's say, they're asking you to sing at a gig, and you say, you know what, my price for that evening is $500, right? Then you need to look at them and say they need to provide you at least $500 worth of something. Either, again, the contact list of everyone who attends that event, they need to promote you in a couple ways. Maybe they need to pay for you to do a sponsored Facebook post for, a week about your services. Or they need to book you for 2 more gigs, and at those gigs you get a percentage of the door or something. But those kinds of things, again, open your mind and go, and it could be very much, okay, if your is $500, I'm just saying your value is $500 and you're doing it like at a bar or restaurant, maybe you get from them, you know what, I want 3 cases of champagne.
Yeah, something like that.
Then you can gift it to, other promoters or, maybe there's a lot of different ways, but you've got to be open to it. And a lot of times you have to be the one to suggest, hey, this is my value. You've got this that I would want, that I could use in some way. And just think, kind of approach it like that, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Jennifer, you got any ideas?
Yeah, typically that's what some of my top traders, they don't just trade strictly through us when they have their account with us, Barter Card. What they've done is they'll also trade outside. So I have one gentleman in particular right now. So he has some hand trucks. And so he has traded a lot of those. Probably the last month, he sold 50 of those. Well, so he's decided he's going to take a vacation in Hilton Head. While he's there, he's also getting, gift certificates for restaurants. And then he's going to go on a boat tour to go see dolphins. So he's taken what he has and traded it to probably 20 different members. But those hand trucks, he traded some other guy from something that he bought from us. He goes, hey, I see that you have this. And I said, yeah. He goes, can I buy it? I'm like, what are you going to do with it? He goes, you said you needed hand trucks. I'm like, yeah. He goes, I need a vacation. So he bought what we had to go sell to the guy for the hand trucks. All he did was trade them, but they weren't even in our network. It's thinking outside the box and seeing who's around you and using your network and resources that you currently have. I know right now we have some of our members who, like one of their lawn man, who comes in, has been doing her yard for the last 20 years. She goes, I'm not changing who I have. He shows up on time. He's here all the time. I'm not changing it. I said, okay, great. She said, I want to pay him in trade. How can I make that work? And I went, well, find out some of his favorite restaurants. Give him the gift certificate list that we have. So we have about 30 to 40 restaurants inside our network here in Charleston. And she got to talking to him one day, and he said, I haven't taken my wife on vacation in forever. She said, really? Where do you want to go? And she asked, do you want to go to Columbia, Myrtle Beach? So she named a couple different places, and he picked Myrtle Beach. And so she's actually arranging a vacation for him and his wife using her Barter Card trade dollars that she has to turn around, and then she's going to pay for all of her lawn care service for next year.
Right.
For her, it's a win-win. She's able to use it with the resources she has and trade them out. Using your Barter Card trade dollars. The thing for you, Jasmine, is definitely kind of be on the lookout for your friends when they say, oh, I want to do this. Think about who has in the past asked you to trade and maybe see if they have something that your friends need. Because I know sometimes some of my friends are willing to either pay for it in cash. Just same thing like when you go out with your girlfriends. You pick up the tab one time, they pick up the tab next time. That's the trade. So use the resources. Maybe you trade a restaurant to come in and sing, and you pick up the tab. Well, next time when you go out with your girlfriends, they're picking up the tab, but you just paid for it in trade by singing one night.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know. As you were talking, I remember, this has been several years ago, but remember someone started with a paper clip and they ended up with a house. It took about 2 months, but someone traded the paper clip, just one paper clip for like a pen. Then they traded that pen for, you know, I don't know, a couple rolls of quarters and then a couple rolls of quarters to, you know, whatever, but they kept trading and they ended up with a house, starting with a paperclip. And it really was a matter of, hey, I've got this, you know, widget, who needs it, and what do you have that I could trade for? And so barter can be very, very, very effective. And it is a way that you can get what you want, get some services at, you know, something that doesn't cost, you know, like Jasmine, for you to sing, there's not a lot of cost involved, you mean, except for your time and, you know, whatever equipment you may have.
And travel, we kind of put that in there too. Yeah.
Right. But, you know, there may be, for you, maybe you really need marketing, or maybe you really need, maybe you need better equipment, and someone else could, you know, be able to help you get that in some more cost-effective way without doing cash. And so it really is, it's a really interesting process that I really encourage small business owners to take a look at. Now, Jennifer, we're going to wrap up here in a couple minutes. Do you want to talk a little bit about Barter Card, how people get more information, that kind of thing?
Yeah, if anybody's interested, you could definitely call my office phone at 843-606-4205, or send me an email at jennifer.minchoff@bartercardusa.com. I'll email out my email so that way everybody has it, since my last name's a little long. But Barter Card has been around for the last 25 years. We're an international trade exchange. We are based in 10 different countries now, in over 50 cities worldwide. So it is not a small exchange. We do exchange trade dollar currency just like you would a regular U.S. currency. You have a little barter card. It's a green barter card. You use it, swipes in most restaurants. So when you do go out, you can get everything from massages, hair salon. I've gotten car maintenance, doctor's visits, ophthalmology appointments. You have dentist cleaning, dry cleaning, landscaping. The list goes on and on. Like I said, there's travel that's available too. But I do enjoy it. I have used it for so long. Matter of fact, my daughter's birthday dinner last night was on Barter Card. So that was a lot of fun. And I think everybody there at the restaurant said, "Oh, really? We want to be able to, you know, have our birthday dinner here." Well, that was all cash paying customers for that restaurant. So even though my daughter's birthday was on trade, she'll probably have about another steady 5 to 6 new customers that wouldn't have been there otherwise without her being a Barter Card member. That Barter Card member actually has time and time again told me without Barter Card, she would not be in business today. There's a lot of things that she stumbled upon being a new business owner, business repairs, insurance, payroll expenses, that she just didn't realize that, as unfortunately some new business owners struggle, we actually have those things in place so that way they can utilize them. So if you do have any questions about Barter Card or how to get started, or just want to, you know, kind of take a peek at the new network, here in Charleston, we do have locally 300 members. And within the U.S., we have almost 800 members now. So like I said, it's very exciting. We're growing by leaps and bounds. We are based in 20 different cities in the U.S. So give me a call, 843-860-0323.
All right, cool. Jennifer or Jasmine, either one of you have any questions or comments before we wrap it up?
So one last question from me. With an area such as Charleston that is saturated with, with bands and musicians, what would be your strategy for bartering? Because it almost seems like if I say no, or if I try to come up with something that they don't agree to, it's almost so easy to just get a different band, because it's just viewed as, yeah, you guys play music, you guys are good, but I got some people down the street, like you said, don't do free services, but people are doing them for little or nothing. You know what I mean? So how do you compete, or, you know, what's your strategy for, I guess, transferring the value to the people that you're trying to barter with?
And I think that's kind of the key right there, is that you do not want to compete on price. you want to hold to the value, right? You want to find companies, restaurants, venues that recognize your value, and you're going to have to let those venues that only want to compete on price go after the price. And it's kind of a hard line to draw at the beginning, but the more you stick to this is valuable, I am valuable, the more people will respect that. And again, I think when you offer them, because a lot of some of these restaurant owners, they want the higher value. They just don't think they can afford you. But when you offer them more of a barter, or you offer them, hey, there's a couple ways that we can work this out. You know, I don't have to take cash right this second. You know, I sign me to a deal for 4 gigs. You know, and instead of $500 per gig, maybe it's only $350 a gig. But on the 4th one, if I bring in, you know, X number of people, you pay me a bonus or something. You know, when you can negotiate that way, a lot of places will, that set you apart, one, because you do respect your value. And the companies that are quality companies will recognize that. Jennifer, you have anything to add?
Yes, actually to that one, in line with the value, what we actually teach our members to do is, if, say your gig's $500 and they're saying, well, we want to pay $3. Okay, pay me $3 in cash, give me another $300 in gift certificates, and additional promotion. You're pulling a little bit more out of them, but at least this way you have additional gift certificates to either use for yourself, or like Trina had mentioned earlier, for club promoters. So if you have other promoters that you need to either kind of grease the wheel, so to speak, then you have those gift certificates to go out and network with. Or a lot of these networking events, sometimes in order for you to be a sponsor to their event, you have to provide a $50 gift certificate for a giveaway. Well, if you have that already that you traded, it's nothing that you're coming out of pocket for. And if they say, well, why should I give you $300? Because you're asking now for an additional $100 in gift certificates. Now you're turning around and using those gift certificates to then promote them in another networking setting. So now you're also helping to promote them. So you are increasing your value even more. So that's where the additional, that's why I would tell you, if they're going to split it, if they want to pay you $300 and then do $300 in gift certificates, it's putting you $100 ahead. But now you're also going to be able to go out and push yourself. You're going to also push your event at that restaurant, and you're giving somebody a gift certificate to go. It's a win-win for you and them. But then that way you're able to get that $300, you're able to secure that job, and then you're going to increase your value. That's that one time. Moving forward, it's not going to say it's going to be the same deal, but it's at least getting your foot in the door.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that.
Cool. Great ideas. All right. Well, I think we are going to wrap it up. Thank you so much. The replay will be out in about an hour, and we will leave it out in the event for a while. So thank you very much, Jennifer. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Jennifer. And we'll see you later. Make sure that you like the event. Go out on the event page and say that you got some value out of this. If you haven't subscribed to the Mirelli newsletter, do that. I posted that in the Facebook group today. And we will see. I've got a couple events coming up. I've got the Work from Home Career Information Day coming up September 29th. I've got the Local Author Showcase coming up October 8th. I've got a location invasion at Healing Hara on October 14th. And then I've got our women's brunch, our Women in Leadership brunch on October 22nd. So look for all those events coming up, and have a great evening.
Thanks so much for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye, ladies.